All right, family, we back. The recording device keeps stopping. I don't know why. We're about to get a new computer tomorrow, so maybe tomorrow it'll work better. But for some reason, the recording device keeps stopping. Please forgive me. I pray that I caught the rest of that service, boy. I tell you, I like to play these things back in the room from time to time to keep our minds abreast of what's going on in our culture in the midst of our people today. But bear in mind that nothing that I teach you is just for entertainment. The teachings that we bring about is for you to change your life. The education that we give is for you to change the life of somebody else and not just yourself. Okay? Hallelujah. Today's lesson is on the Shabbat day. We're going to get into the lesson of the Shabbat day. We're going to cover many, many areas pertaining to the Shabbat day. Bless Yehovah, who is to be praised. Baruch atah Yehovah ha-borek. Praise be Yehovah, who is blessed for all eternity. Baruch Yehovah ha-borek liolam we'ad. Baruch atah Adonai Yehovah Eloheinu Hamborah Leolam Wa'ed. Blessed art thou, O Yehovah our Elohim, King of the universe, who openest for us the gates of mercy, and lighteth the eyes of them that hope for thy forgiveness, who formeth light and createth darkness, who maketh peace and createth all things. Hallelujah. Baruch atah Yehovah Eloheinu Melech haolam hapoteach lanu sha'arei rechamin u'ma'in ayin hamchakim lisliyahi yotzer or ubore hashek osei shalom ubore et hakol. Hallelujah. Yea, everlasting light is in Elohim's treasure of life. Out of the darkness he spake, and there was light. O forgive on this holy day a people that aspires to holiness, O thou who art high and holy. We have sinned against thee, O our rock, O our creator. Forgive us of our iniquities and our trespasses against thee. There is none like unto thee, not in the heavens above, nor the earth beneath, neither in the waters underneath of the earth. Thou reign supreme in all thy majesty, in all thy splendor. Thou art great. Unto thee, O great King, we pray, now and forevermore. Hallelujah. In one of the prayers that I pray, I often pray to the Most High simply like this: Creator, please protect us from ourselves. For in many instances, we are our worst enemy. So I often ask the Most High to protect us from ourselves, because we bring about destruction upon our own soul, oftentimes because of the decisions that we make in life. If we ran our lives more like a business, then our lives will be more productive and more successful and more fruitful. And when I say run our lives like a business, means that in businesses, you don't want to lose money. So you're not going to keep doing a method if that method doesn't seem to work for the business. But in our lives, we continuously do things because we like the way it makes us feel, although we know that it's not good for us. So if we ran our lives like a business, half the things or most of the things that we do, we wouldn't do anymore. Like a guy that keep running with this girl that he know is no good, bringing destruction, chaos, turmoil, pain, suffering, then he would be able to stop, wouldn't he? The brother who's doing these drugs, and these drugs is bringing destruction and chaos and turmoil in his life. He will be able to stop that if he ran his life like a corporation or like a business. Many of us who commit these sins against the Creator, and these sins against humanity, and these sins against our own people, if we ran our lives like a business, then we could stop. We would stop and we would move forward. But because we do not run our lives like a Fortune 500 business, and we just run our lives like a little black man in the projects living off of welfare, waiting for his next free meal, most of us run our lives like that. And because we run our lives like that, we are the black man living in the projects, waiting for the next free meal, because that's how we conduct ourselves. That doesn't have to be our reality. Our reality can be whatever we want it to be, whatever we make it to be. The only way that we're going to be successful is if we move our emotions out of the way and deal with the hardcore evidence that's good for our relationship with the Creator. You follow me? As a sister and as a brother, if we move our emotions out of the equation and deal what's best to allow us to have a fruitful relationship with the Creator, where it will prosper, where it will develop, where it will grow, then we have accomplished something. Let's think about the Knesset that we're in. If our Knesset is not fruitful and trying to bring about something great in the very near years to come, then what good is it? Why are we there? Why are we participating? If it's not striving for improvement, to become great, and to give a greater relationship or rapport between the Creator and the members of the Knesset, then why are we there? A lot of us have copped out and taken the easy way out and associated ourselves with others who have been doing so much better than us, but are worshiping deities, and none of them happen to be the Creator. Many of us have tagged along with them just for what they have worked hard through the trenches to accomplish. But in truthfulness, none of us are really ready. Maybe we are. Maybe Prince just mistaken about this. But how many of us, maybe I should put it that way, how many of us are really ready to get right with the Creator and do what we have to do to stop playing these games for all these years and get right where He can smile upon us once again? We're going to get into this scripture today, into the readings about this Shabbat day. And I know that none of us are perfect in our way of keeping the Shabbat. So if you hear something that you just want to question, then just raise your hand and question it. It's all right. It's acceptable. You can do it in the room too. You can raise your hand if you have a question in the room as well. And we'll do our best to answer the question. I'm sure that most of you are going to hear something that you've never heard before. You're going to have a greater understanding. Creator willing, you'll have a greater understanding after this lesson is done. But we're going to move forward. Hallelujah. May the Most High guide my mind, my spirit, my body, my language, and my speech as I approach unto you, His people. Hallelujah. The title of the lesson today is The Proper Method to a Holy Shabbat Day. The proper method to a holy Shabbat day. And I know that many of you already have an idea of what a holy Shabbat day is. But what I submit to you, family, that if we really knew what a holy Shabbat day was, the condition that we are in would be totally different. The only thing that we can do in the position that we are in is do our best under the conditions that we are in. In order for us to have a truly holy Shabbat day, we have to be back in the Holy Land. We have to have the Levitical priesthood already established. We have to have the blessings of the Most High upon us. These things must be in place for us to truly have 100% holy Shabbat day. The other thing is that we have to rule in our land. Because as long as someone else is ruling us in our land, then we're not able to righteously do the things that the Creator has for us to do. So as long as somebody else is ruling over us, we cannot have a truly holy Shabbat day, especially with gay parades running down the street. Hallelujah. Let me give you a little bit of history about the Shabbat from other perspectives and not just ours. This information you can find in the Microsoft and Carter Encyclopedia, copyrighted in 1993 to 205. It says Sabbath, Hebrew Shabbat, derived from the verb Shabbat, to rest or to cease. Now keep that in your mind. To rest or to cease is the meaning of the word Shabbat. To rest or to cease. Now you would ask yourself, to rest from what? If you have noticed that on the Shabbat day, you're still doing everything that you've been doing through the rest of your week, except you come into the house of worship, then even in this land of captivity, you're not doing your best to keep a Shabbat day. There should no money be spent on the Shabbat day. No work should be done on the Shabbat day. Everything you do on the Shabbat should be pertaining to the Creator. Everything that you do on the Shabbat day should be pertaining to the Most High King. A lot of us have our own understandings and ideals of how to keep the Shabbat. And I'm not the one to argue with you about those things. It's not my job to argue. It's only my job to disseminate to the family the information, to educate them, and then it's up to the family to do what they choose to do with the information. There should be no ironing on the Shabbat day. There should be no cooking on the Shabbat day. There should be no working on the Shabbat day. There should be no buying or selling on the Shabbat day. The Knesset should not accept money or offerings on the Shabbat day. These are many things that should not be done during the daylight hours or even in the nightlight hours of the Shabbat day. Many of our people for years didn't have this understanding. I, for one, was one who didn't have this understanding. I remember when I first came into Torah, I almost did anything I wanted to do on a Shabbat as long as I made it to a house of worship to learn or to hear the Creator's word. I thought that I was keeping the Shabbat holy. The Creator said, for 6 days thou shalt labor and do all thy work, but on the 7th day is holy unto the Most High Yehovah. In it thou shalt do no manner of work. That is a Shabbaton, which means absolutely none. Now, there are only 2 days in the Tanakh out of all the holy days that we got that are Shabbaton. That is the Day of Atonement and the weekly Shabbat day. They are the only two, that is, when you read it in the Hebrew, it says Shabbaton. Just those two. No other days. Which means that on these days, they are to be kept stricter than the regular Shabtot. Shabtot meaning Shabbat days. Okay? When I say regular Shabbat days, I'm talking about Pesach. I'm talking about Yom Teruach. I'm talking about the Feast of Unleavened Bread. I'm talking about those as regular Shabbat days because they are all Shabtot also. Shabtot is Shabbat in the plural form. Shabtot means many Shabbats. Okay? The holy days put together would be Shabtot and not Shabbats. In English, we say Shabbats. That's not correct. It's Shabtot. Okay? Let's travel on. The Hebrew Shabbat, derived from the verb Shabbat, to rest or to cease, is a holy day of rest observed by the Israelites and some Christian denominations, such as the Seventh-day Adventists. Now, what the Seventh-day Adventists do in their keeping of the Shabbat, they don't keep the Shabbat according to Torah. The only thing that they do on the Shabbat that I know of is that they would assemble on the Shabbat and have service. It was in 300 AD that a man named Constantine or Constantine the Great, in the Council of Nicaea, what he did was he orchestrated and changed which days would be known as the Shabbat day. And what he did, Constantine the Great, he made the Shabbat to come in on Sunday as opposed to Saturday, which was the actual Sabbath day. He put the Shabbat from the seventh day of the week to the first day of the week. Sunday is actually the very first day of the week. It's not the seventh day. When our people came into the Christian churches, we were taught that Sunday was the day of rest, that Sunday was a Sabbath day, and that was the furthest thing from the truth. Another thing that we have been associated with for so long and just accepted as the truth. Another brain manipulation that had taken place with our people. A holy day of rest observed by the Israelites and some Christian denominations on the seventh day of the week, and by most Christians on Sunday. The origin of the Shabbat is uncertain, but for a Hebrew Israelite, the origin of the Shabbat can be found right in the Torah. There have been other nations who have had a thing that they call a Shabbat, or a day of rest. And one of those nations is the Babylonians. And the Babylonians called the Shabbat Shaputu. Shaputu was a day that they had as a day of rest. The 15th day of the month, on which the full moon occurred. Now these people were stargazers. They actually was idolaters, and they worshiped the moon in many instances. Now Shaputu, which was the 15th day of the month at the time of the new moon, is when they kept their Shabbat. Okay? On which the moon occurs. And the Babylonian cycle of evil days, every seventh day, was known to them as evil days. The Bible describes the Sabbath as a reminder of Elohim's rest after the creation. See Exodus 20:11. And of the liberation from Egypt. See Deuteronomy 5 and 15. The prohibition of work in Deuteronomy 5:12 to 14 is never fully explained in the Bible. Among the specific kinds of work prohibited are the kindling of fire, plowing and harvesting, and cooking. The rabbis of post-biblical times derived from Scripture's 39 categories of prohibited activities. Now the Jewish man will tell you that you can't go to work on the Sabbath day, right? And that you can't turn on lights on the Sabbath day. But at the same time, you can go play basketball on a Sabbath day. You can go play tennis. You can go swimming. You can go hiking if you want to, as far as the Jewish man is concerned. But you better not open an umbrella to get to the temple on a Shabbat day. If it's raining and you open an umbrella to get to the temple, then you have violated the Shabbat according to the Jewish man's teachings. The Jewish man will allow a black man to come into his synagogue and turn on his lights, and he hasn't violated the Shabbat. The Jewish man will allow a black man to open and start their car for them so that they can get to the synagogues, and they haven't violated the Shabbat. But mostly they believe that it's prohibited for them to drive because starting your car will be kindling a fire according to their understanding. So somebody else could do it. Turning on the lights will be kindling a fire. according to their understanding, so somebody else can do it. And usually it's a black man that they would employ to do these things. Most Jewish people don't know the truth about who you are. A lot of them do, but most of them don't. Most of them, the majority of them, don't know who they are. They think they're Israelites. Now, in Islam, Muslims also keep what they call a Shabbat day. Did you know that? Did we know that? Muslims also have what they call a Sabbath day. It's on Friday. Did anybody know that the Islamic countries, the Muslims worship the moon god? Their symbol is the crescent with the little star in it. That is a symbol of the moon god. Allah is his name. Now watch how their worship of that deity even plays out in the day that they have accepted as being the day of worship, the Sabbath day, the Shabbat day of Friday. Now it's amazing because in the Quran, they say that the Shabbat day is a day that you're supposed to worship as the Israelites worship. But in their teachings and in their doctrines, it is Friday and not Saturday. In the Quran, it says if any man wants to be perfect with their deity, he has to keep the Shabbat day. But is making references to the Israelite Torah's Shabbat day. But the actual day that they keep is on Friday. Watch this. Anglo-Saxon. The word is Frigedaig. Frigedaeg. Frigedaig. From Old High German, Freya. Now that word means a goddess. That's what that word means. Now you ready to learn something? Because when I read it, I learned something. I said, wow. So I'm sure most of us is about to learn something. So watch what happens. The English name of the 6th day of the week. What's the 6th day of the week? Friday. You ain't say Saturday, did you? Iman, you ain't say Saturday. The 6th day of the week is Friday. But did you hear me say Friday in anything that I just read? I didn't say Friday. But they said it's the English name of the 6th day of the week. The day was held sacred to Venus, the goddess of love, by the Romans, who called it Dies Veneris, Day of Venus. In the Roman language, the name of the day is derived from the Latin, as in the French Vendredi, the Italians Venerdì, and the Spanish Viernes. Germanic people held the day sacred to the Norse goddess of love. Her name was Frigg or Frigga. The German languages, like English, use variations of the Old High German Freitag. And Freitag in German means Day of Frigga. Remember, Frigga was the female goddess that they worshipped. The Day of Frigga is Freitag in German, is to designate the day. Now remember earlier when I was teaching in class, I taught you that the language of the United States was almost German. And you can even see that in a lot of the language. The Hebrew name of Friday is Yom Shishi, which means 6th day. Yom is day, Shishi is 6. 6th day. Among many Slavic people, however, Friday is not regarded as the 6th day of the week, as evidenced by its Russian name, Funitsa, or 5th day. Friday is the Muslim Sabbath. Now, in Friday, it was Frigidi, which was the word Friday in their language. Friday is the Muslim Sabbath and is the day for religious gatherings. The day was chosen by Prophet Muhammad in commemoration of the creation of man on the sixth day, or creation, and to differentiate his followers from the Christians and the Jews. He chose Friday. He didn't just choose Friday to separate from the other religions, the Christians and the religions of the Israelites. He chose Friday because Friday was a day that the other nations worship the moon god. She's called by many of these different names. Friatag was one of the names. Frigg was a name. Phrygia was a name. Venus was a name. Veneris was a name. All these are different names of the moon god Venus. And Friday was the day that they worshiped this deity. In German, the day was called Freitag, because Venus's name in German was Phrygia. Freitag. And now the Muslims have it that they worship their deity, who is also the moon god Alat, on the same day that the other nations worship their moon god. And it was Friday. Friday, from Freitag, it became Friday. Freitag, Friday. What a coincidence. Freitag, Friday. 1 second, please. Can I be heard in the room, family? Can I be heard in the room? Okay, let's rock and roll. We keep losing sound in the room, and I don't know why, but it keeps going out. Someone may be coming in, tapping in and cutting us off. I don't know, but we're going to keep it moving. I pray that you all heard that information about Friday. It was some very important, outstanding information for us. Friday. Okay, where the conversation is about the Shabbat day. In Genesis chapter 2, verse 1. It says, thus the heavens and the earth was finished, and all the host of them. And on the seventh day Elohim ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his works which he made. On the seventh day Yehovah Elohim rested from all of his work. And then he sanctioned the seventh day, and he made it holy. Do you know that the Sabbath day is the only day through the week that has been blessed by the Creator? Only the seventh day is the only day of the week that the Most High ever in the history of man has blessed. Only the seventh day. You read it here. In Exodus chapter 20 and 8, it says, remember the Shabbat day to keep it holy. 6 days shall thou labor and do all thy work. 6 days shall thou labor and do all thy work. But the seventh day is a Shabbat unto Jehovah. In it thou shalt do no manner of work. Thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, nor thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor the stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days Jehovah made the heavens and the earth, the sea and all them that in them is, and he rested on the Shabbat day. Therefore, now listen, therefore Jehovah blessed the Shabbat day and hallowed it. He blessed the Shabbat, the only day of the week that has been blessed and ordained by the Creator. This is why the Shabbat day is so sacred, because it has been singled out from every other day. Think about it. He created everything in 6 days. Then what need was it for him to make another day? He made another day just so he can stop from all his creation. I mean, do you understand what I'm saying to you? Nothing was created on the 7th day. So what was the purpose of him creating the 7th day? So that you, in the course of time, could rest on this day and reflect upon him. This is why the Most High gave us the 7th day. Iman, could I get you to read for me, please? Exodus. We're going to read the story in Exodus, the 16th chapter. And we're going to cover some of the things that is prohibited on the Shabbat day. Could we all get our books out, please? Exodus, the 16th chapter. Amasiah's burden. Shalom, Aki. He asks us, does the Most High forgive and bless us without our knowings? I believe that's the question, and absolutely the Most High does. All the time, he forgives us and he blesses us without us ever knowing that he has done so. He also protects us without us ever knowing. This is a fact. All right, we ready, family? Exodus, the 16th chapter, verse 1.
Shabbat Shalom. First, I'd like to give all honor and praise to Yehovah, the one true King of all things, for the breath of life, for his mercy, for all of us that's here today, for our spiritual leader, Prince Kaz. Hallelujah. Exodus chapter 16, verse 1. And they took their journey from Elim, and all the congregation of the children of Israel came until the wilderness of Sin, which is between Elim and Sinai, on the 15th day of the 2nd month after their departing out of the land of Egypt.
On the 15th day of the 2nd month, on the full moon, after we departed out of Egypt, we had just finished what will be known as the Passover. Remember the Passover? We had just did the Passover in the 1st month. Now this is the 15th day, actually 30 days after the Pesach. Read on, please.
Verse 2. And the whole congregation of the children of Israel murmured against Moses and Aaron in the wilderness. And the children of Israel said unto them, Would to Elohim we had died by the hand of Yehovah in the land of Egypt, when we sat by the flesh pots, and when we did eat bread to the full. For ye have brought us forth into this wilderness to kill this whole assembly with hunger.
That's how you know they had to be our people. We always complaining anyway. We always find a reason to complain. Now I need you to understand what I'm saying to you. Now here it is, Moshe, a man of the Most High, is taking our people from slavery to freedom. From being slaves to being a sovereign nation, and they're finding reasons to complain against that. See, a person don't really understand what freedom is like, because freedom means you have to work for your freedom. As long as we were slaves, somebody else took care of you, somebody else provided for you like they do now, we cool. But when you become a free man and you have your sovereignty, no longer can you lean on somebody else to feed you. You have to go out and get it for yourself. Read on, please.
Verse 4. Then said Yehovah unto Moshe, Behold, I will rain bread from heaven for you.
What did he say?
I will rain bread from heaven.
Can you imagine what it's like to have the Most High to send down bread from heaven? He's saying, if you will fight for your freedom, Israel, I will feed you. You see what I'm saying? As long as you're a slave, you're depending on somebody else to provide for you. You're depending on somebody else to feed you. The Most High is saying, if you fight for your freedom, I will feed you. Just what he said to our forefathers. He said, Jehovah said unto Moshe, Behold, I will cause to rain bread from heaven for you. Not only did the Most High say, I will feed you, but in reality, what the Father is saying is, I will feed you like I've never fed anybody else. He's saying, I will feed you like nobody else has ever received food from me. I'm going to do something special for you. Just as it was then, so is it now, if we strive for our freedom. Read on, please.
And the people shall go out and gather a certain rate every day, that I might prove them, whether they will walk in my law or not.
The Most High says, and during my feeding of you, because you know we some spoiled people, we start getting food falling from the sky, but we start stuffing it in our pocket. We don't want to share. We put it in our pocket. We just want to feed ourselves. But that's not how a family is supposed to operate. The Most High is saying that he's going to test us with the blessings from heaven. He tested a lot of our professional athletes with blessings from heaven, didn't he? And what did they do with those blessings? They got selfish with it. Didn't feed the people. Well, watch what happens on this day. Read on, please.
Verse 5. And it shall come to pass that on the 6th day they shall prepare that which they bring in, and it shall be twice as much as they gather daily.
He gave us simple instructions. He said that on the 6th day you should gather twice as much on the 6th day than any other day. Watch, read on, please.
And Moshe and Aaron said unto all the children of Israel, at even, then ye shall know that Jehovah hath brought you out of the land of Egypt. And in the morning, then ye shall see the glory of Jehovah. For that he heareth your murmurings against Jehovah. And what are we, that ye murmur against us? And Moshe said, this shall be, when Jehovah shall give you in the evening flesh to eat, and in the morning bread to be full, for that Jehovah heareth your murmurings, which ye murmur against him. And what are we? Your murmurings are not against us, but against Jehovah. And Moses spake unto Aaron, saying to all the congregation of the children of Israel, come near before Jehovah, for he hath heard your murmurings. And it came to pass, as Aaron spake unto the whole congregation of the children of Israel, that they looked towards the wilderness, and behold, the glory of Jehovah appeared in the cloud. And Jehovah spake unto Moshe, saying, I have heard the murmurings of the children of Israel. Speak unto them, saying, at evening ye shall eat flesh, and in the morning ye shall be filled with bread, and ye shall know that I am Jehovah your Elohim.
Talk to you later.
And it came to pass that at even the quails came up and covered the camp, and in the morning the dew lay round about the host. And when the dew that lay was gone up, behold, upon the face of the wilderness there lay a small round thing, as small as a hoar frost on the ground. And when the children of Israel saw it, they said one to another, it is manna, for they was not what it was. And Moshe said unto them, this is the bread which Jehovah hath given you to eat. This is the thing which Jehovah hath commanded. Gather of it every man according to his eating. An omer for every man, according to the number of your persons. Take ye every man for them which are in his tents. And the children of Israel did so, and gathered, some more, some less. And when they did meet it with an omer, he that gathered much had nothing over, and he that gathered little had no lack. They gathered every man according to his eating. And Moshe said, let no man leave of it till the morning. Notwithstanding, they hearkened not unto Moses, but some of them left of it until the morning, and it bred worms, and stank. And Moses was wroth with them. And they gathered it every morning, every man according to his eating. And when the sun waxed hot, it melted. And it came to pass that on the 6th day they gathered twice as much bread, 2 omers for 1 man. And all the rulers of the congregation came and told Moses.
Now watch this, family. Let's see what's getting ready to happen.
And he said unto them, This is that which Jehovah has said. Tomorrow is the rest of the holy Shabbat.
He says tomorrow. Tomorrow is the rest of the holy Shabbat, which means that tomorrow is the 7th day of the week. Now watch what happens.
Unto Jehovah. Bake that which ye shall bake today.
Bake what you shall bake today.
And see if that ye will see it.
Boil what you will boil.
And that which remaineth over lay up for you to be
And
kept.
that which
until the morning.
remaineth over lay up for you to be kept the next day.
And they laid it up till the morning, as Moshe bade.
Now here's what we do. We're supposed to cook all of our food the day prior. Friday, as we know it, Yom Shishi, Friday is a day of preparation. Even the Christians in the New Testament got that right. Friday is the day of preparation, which means that on Friday you're supposed to prepare properly for the Shabbat day. Because when the Shabbat comes in, which is Friday at sunset, nothing should you be doing of your own labors pertaining to you cooking, pertaining to you preparing your clothes. Before the sun goes down on Friday, you should take a bath and cleanse yourself before the setting of the sun, so that when the sun goes down and the Shabbat is in, you are spiritually cleansed for the Shabbat day. For in scriptures, the Most High teaches us that no man should approach unto him in a state of uncleanness. Now the question will come up, well, Prince, aren't we all unclean because we're in an unclean land? That will be a good question that a lot of us will come up with. Then ask yourself this question. Why did the Most High put the children of the Jebusites out of the land of Canaan? Why did he put them out of Canaan? Was it not for uncleanness? Was it not because of the unclean acts that they were doing, polluting the land? Now ask yourself, when was that land ever purified? It was never purified. But yet we were allowed to go into that land and keep the holy rituals of serving the Creator in an unclean land. If we were to take that question or that route to examine why we have to take baths or cleanse ourselves in the land of our captivity. Now, I'm not saying that we're clean, not by a long shot. But what we are to do is just like we're not keeping the Shabbat by a long shot. What we are to do is show the Father that we are willing to do what he has commanded of us to do by going through the acts and asking that the acts that we go through are held to be acceptable unto him. That's the only thing that we can do. None of us know 100% bona fide, I don't care where you go, that we are right 100% with the things that we do. The only thing that we can do is with a pure mind approach unto the Creator. That's why if you hear me pray, I pray for permission to approach, because I know that I'm not in a position that he would have me to be in at this time. Same thing with us all. But yet if I was to ignore him and just ignore him and go about my day, then today is Saturday, I'll be downtown shopping somewhere or at a mall playing baseball and basketball. Just like you make your efforts to please him in the land of your captivity by shutting down on the Shabbat day and assembling in the house of worship, you should also make your actions at trying to keep yourself ritually clean for the Shabbat day. A lot of people may disagree with that, but if you read through the scriptures, the Father tells you under certain situations you should not approach unto him. Now we have been learning this law for many of years. Most of us have never even heard this. This is something new to our ears. It's tingling right now. And family in the room, you have to understand that you are to keep yourself separated from the ways of the pagans. And in church, you go to church in any condition you want to be in. You can get up Sunday morning, take a bath, put on some clean clothes and go to church. I had a young lady today got angry with me because she wanted to come to the temple with this dress on with her cleavage showing and her arms all exposed. And I had to leave her. You can't come dressed like that. But in church, she actually turned around and said to me, church said you can come as you are. I said, then go to church. Because here we have a dress code and we have to respect that. The Creator has a dress code. We have to respect that. So there we are. That one portion and what it is that we are supposed to do by preparing our foods the day before so that we don't have to cook and violate the Shabbat day. There is one day in the scriptures. Go to the 12th chapter of Exodus, verse 17. There is one holy day throughout all the scriptures that the Most High says you can cook on. Exodus, the 12th chapter, verse 17. What does it say? Start at verse 16.
And in the first day, there shall be an holy convocation.
Speaking about the Feast of Unleavened Bread. In the first day shall be a holy convocation.
And in the seventh day there shall be a holy convocation.
And in the seventh day there shall be a holy convocation.
No manner of work shall be done in them.
No manner of work. Is that right, family? No manner of work. This is a Shabbat day. No manner of work shall be done in them.
Save that which every man must eat.
Except what every man must do to eat. You follow what I'm saying? Why would the Most High have to say, except what every man must do to eat, if it was already accepted for you to cook and do what you need to do to eat on the Shabbat day? The Most High said that on the sixth day, you should prepare your food for the seventh day. If that wasn't so, there would be no reason for him to specify that on the Day of Atonement, on the Feast of Unleavened Bread, which is a Shabbat day, that on this day, you can do what you need to do by way of work to get something to eat. Doesn't mean you can spend money. What it means is you can cook. Why would he have to specify that if it was already acceptable for you to do whatever you needed to do for food on the Shabbat day? The reason is because it wasn't acceptable for you to do. And that's what Exodus, the 16th chapter, is bringing out. It's bringing out the fact that the day before the Shabbat day is the day that you were supposed to cook and do everything. It's called the day of preparation, so that you don't have to violate the Shabbat day by ironing your clothes, by going to the store, by spending money. And everything that I bring forward, I'm going to try to find a scripture that I can use to confirm and back up my understandings and my teachings. Go back to Exodus, the 16th chapter, please. Matter of fact, we're finished with Exodus, the 16th chapter. In Exodus, the 35th chapter, go to verse 2. Start at verse 1. Exodus, the 35th chapter, verse 1.
Exodus 35, verse 1. And Moshe gathered all the congregation of the children of Israel together and said unto them.
Moshe gathered who together? All the congregation, all the people, because he wanted everybody to bear record that this was law. Read on.
These are the words which Jehovah hath commanded.
These are the things. Dabar is words or things. These are the things that the Most High, the great King of all creation, has commanded.
That ye shall do.
That ye shall do.
6 days shall work be done.
6 days shall work be done.
But on the seventh day there shall be to you a holy day.
But on the seventh day is a holy day. That holy day shall be a Shabbat. Not only a Shabbat, but a Shabbaton, which meant a Sabbath, but a complete day of rest. Read on.
A Sabbath of rest to Jehovah. Whosoever doeth work therein shall be put to death.
Whoever doeth work, read that again. Whoever what?
Whosoever doeth work therein shall be put to death.
That's how serious the Shabbat was to be guarded. It was to be guarded that seriously Now this is Moshe saying this before all the assembly of Israel, that if you do any work on the Shabbat day, you will be put to death. What was something else that he said, the very first thing? Read on.
You shall kindle no fire throughout your habitations upon the Sabbath day.
What did he say?
You shall kindle no fire throughout.
Hold on a second, please, because I think I have to deal with my children. I don't believe this. Excuse me a second. The Most High says, ye shall not kindle a fire on the Shabbat day. Now, kindle means to start. Ye shall not start a fire on the Shabbat day. You shall not start. Well, how are you going to cook if you can't start a fire? Good question. Well, Prince, you know what, Prince? Let me tell you this, Prince. I don't know where you get this psychology from, Prince, but I don't cook on the Shabbat. I cook the day before, but on the Shabbat, I warm up my food. Wow. What's the difference between warm up and cook, except for the amount of time that you allow it to heat up? There is no difference. So on the Shabbat day, not only could you not cook, but you cannot warm up your food either. A lot of people used to get slick. And what a lot of people used to do is they used to take their food and put it on the radiator and get it warm through the radiator, wrap it up in aluminum foil and sit it on top of the warm stove. You're still doing the same thing. You're warming up your food. You're still violating the Shabbat day. And then we wonder why we still in captivity. Then we wonder why we can't hear the Most High's voice, because we're trying to do these little slick things to try to keep our own pleasures going as opposed to keeping the Creator's law. Now, I know ain't nobody here doing nothing like that. I know that ain't none of y'all in the listening audience. So if you know somebody that's doing that, maybe you can talk to them and you can help them to educate them to how the Creator would have for us to keep His laws. It's not for us to find little back doors out of obeying His voice. He says, thou shalt not kindle a fire on the Shabbat day. Thou shalt not cook on the Shabbat day. But you notice what it also says? In your habitations, in your dwellings. That law does not apply for the temple. Not at all, sir. Not at all. That applies for you in the places where you reside. In your dwellings, in your habitation, anywhere outside of the temple compounds. Because on the Shabbat day, the priest was required to start fires. They had to keep one fire lit. They had to burn sacrifices, which required them to start a fire. So the priest had to continuously do things at the temple that if you was home, you wouldn't be able to do. These things was done on the Shabbat day. Read on, please.
Verse 4. And Moshe spake unto all the congregation of the children of Israel, saying, this is the thing which Jehovah commanded, saying.
Stop. Go with me, please, to the book of Nehemiah, the 10th chapter. Nehemiah, the 10th chapter. A lot of people saying, okay, all right, I got the point that I can't cook on the Shabbat. I got the point that I can't work on the Shabbat. But how about if somebody else's store is open? Can I go on the Shabbat and buy? Can I go on the Shabbat and sell? What does that have to do with money? You're saying I can't cook. I got to take a bath before the sun goes down. But how about if I want to buy something on the Shabbat because I'm hungry? Or I want a bag of chips or a soda and a juice, and there's none at the temple. What should I do then? Let's start at the first chapter of the book of Nehemiah. Read on, please. First verse. Yeah, first verse. Yeah, let's get a feel for what the chapter's talking about. Nehemiah chapter 1, verse 1.
Chapter 10.
Chapter 10, verse 1.
Now those that sealed were Nehemiah, the Tershatha, the son of Hakaliah, and Zekijah. Sariah, Azariah, Jeremiah, Pashur, Amariah, Malchijah. Can you say his name?
I can't even see his name yet. I'm almost there, though. Go ahead, keep reading. Do your best.
Shebaniah, Maluch, Harim,
Okay.
Miramoth.
All right, I'm there. Nehemiah 10:2. Now, those that set their seal were Nehemiah the Tirshatha, the son of Hakaliah, and Zedekiah, Sariah, Azariah, Jeremiah, Pashhur, Amariah, Malchiah, Hattush, Shebaniah, Maluk, Harim, Miramoth, Obadiah, Daniel, Ginnethoth. Boy, I tell you, these names are wonderful. Baruch, Meshullam, Abiah, Mehayim, Maazim, Bilgai, Shemaiah. These were the priests. And the Levites, Yeshua, the son of Azaniah, Buni, the sons of Hedadad, Kadmiel, and their brethren, Shebaniah, Hodiah, Paliah, Hanan, Micah, Rehob, Hashabiah, Zakor, Sherebiah, Shebaniah, Hodiah, Bani, Ben-Nui. The chief of the people, Paash, Path-Moab, Elam, Zatu, Bani, Buni, Azgad, Bebai, Adoniah, Bigvai, Adin, Ater, Hezekiah, Azor, Hodiah, Hashum, Bizai, Harif, Anathoth, Nebe, Magpiash, Meshullam, Hazim, Mashizabel, Zadok, Yadai, Paluti, Hanan, Anaiah, Hoshea, Hanaiah, Hashub, Holeshe, Pilcha, Shobek, Rahum, Hashbanah, Masai, and Ahiah, Hagna, Anan, Maluk, Harim, Benaiah. Your turn.
And the rest of the people, the priests, the Levites, the porters, the singers, the Nethinims, and all they that had separated themselves from the people of the land until the law of Elohim.
They did what?
Separated themselves.
They separated themselves from what?
From the people of the land.
From the people of the land. You see what I'm saying, family? Unification is the key. We have to separate ourselves from the rest of the people, not just physically, but mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, and financially. Finances was the only reason why they accepted us as citizens. When the Constitution was written, it didn't include black folk. It didn't include people of color. We were slaves, and we wasn't even but 3/5 of a human being in their sight. We was called what they call chattel slavery or cattle slavery, which means that we were just as good to them as the animals that they had walking around on their farms. We have to separate ourselves from them, and we are all must come together and unify to the best of our ability. That's the only way we're going to get out of this situation. Our forefathers did it. They had enough sense to do it. Now it's our turn. We have to do it. You think that they didn't have differences way back then? Yes, they did have differences. They had many of differences, but they put their differences aside and they fought for the cause. What I mean by fight for the cause, at this time, it was the rebuilding, after they came out of captivity, it was the rebuilding of the temple. You follow me? They were trying to rebuild the temple. It was so severe that they had swords in one hand and bricks in the other hand because the enemies was coming after them. The enemies was trying to attack them. The enemies was trying to come in the midst of them and pretend as if they were them. And we had to protect ourselves. So we was building the temples, building the city walls, and building the gates with a sword in one hand, and a brick on the other hand. And when we got finished working, we would have to watch the family as the rest of the people worked. We got very little sleep during those days. But unification was the key. Read on, please. Tell us where you are, chapter and verse.
Nehemiah chapter 10, the middle of verse 28. And all they that had separated themselves from the people of the land unto the law of Elohim, their wives, their sons, and their daughters, everyone having knowledge and having understanding.
Everyone having knowledge and understanding. You can't proceed without that. Read on.
Verse 29. They clave to their brethren.
They cleave to who?
Their brethren.
That means we was joined together one unto another. We were joined together in unison as a people. Read on.
Their nobles, and entered into a curse.
We entered into a curse, which means that once we joined together as a family, we actually cursed our soul if we violated the covenant that we made to work together as a people to bring about greatness for our people. That was powerful. Do you understand what I'm saying, family? That means that now once we got 50,000 of us together, everybody would raise their hand to the Most High and say, I swear, and this is what I would do. I will no longer be a part of the Europeans' captivity. I will work together to uplift and educate the black people of America, the true nation of Israel, wherever they are in this portion of the earth or wherever they are. We will all take a covenant like that and swear that if we do not keep this word, if we do not keep this covenant, that the Most High could do whatever he chose to do to us. Be it have us decapitated, be it to make us paralyzed, be it to take our minds. If he take our minds any further than what he already took, and we'd be like puppies. But that's what it was. If we didn't stick to the covenant that the Most High, we give him the right to curse us. That meant that a man was about his business. That meant that we were serious, that no matter what, we wouldn't allow our children to die in these streets. No matter what, we would take care of our elderly, our fatherless, our widows, those who were hungry, those who didn't have clothes. We will provide for them no matter what, and I swear my life to it. That's what we did. Our ancestors came together with that type of power. And watch what we did. Read on, please. That's why Nehemiah is my hero. Because Nehemiah, he's about it. You know what I mean? He's about it. Nehemiah in the 13th chapter, he says that he sat at the gates. And as the sun went down, he ordered the gates to be closed on the Shabbat day so that there wouldn't be any buying or selling on the Shabbat day. He wasn't like a lot of the Israelites that we have out there today that profess one thing out of their mouths, but their actions dictate something else. Nehemiah was about it. Read on, please.
Verse 29. And into an oath to walk in Elohim's law, which was given by Moshe, the servant of Elohim, and to observe and to do all the commandments of Yehovah, our Lord, and his judgments and his statutes, and that we would not give our daughters unto
that we wouldn't do what?
Give our daughters unto the people of the land.
That we would not give our daughters to the people of the land. Because our people understood in those days that a nation cannot exist without the sisters. A nation cannot grow and become strong without the sisters. Our people understood that a nation was nothing if the sisters wasn't there, apart, and in position to allow us to reproduce. Reproduction is the key. We understood that. And we wouldn't give our daughters to other people because once our women had children, then they wouldn't be children of Israel. They would be children of another nation. That's what the Creator called a bastard. Read on, please.
Finish in verse 30.
And we wouldn't take their daughters. Read on.
For our sons.
That means that we were going to have total separation from the people of the land. Now you try to tell some of our people that today. What nationality is Tiger Woods? From what I recall, his daddy was a black man, right? And his mama was a Chinese woman? So that makes him what? So what kind of wife he take? I was told he had a white wife.
Yeah.
European woman. Yeah. A lot of our big black people that get in big positions, they take European people as their wives. And it's probably because they're being threatened by the European nations because they don't want that money to be filtered down through our neighborhoods, through our people. Yeah. You take a black wife and we're going to make your life difficult. We may even take away your promotions. Do you know that they have a thing that they're... Now, you know what Tiger Woods just went through, right? Because he was cheating on that European woman. They beat him down real bad because it was another black man making the European look bad. And the women that he was cheating with was European women. So Tiger just ran all through their house. And they were upset with that. Tiger was a big man. I didn't know Tiger was so big. Let me tell you how big Tiger is. They have a golf tournament taking place here in Delaware. That's why his name Tiger? Go ahead, boy. I tell you. She said that's why his name Tiger. Because Tigers ain't no joke. They're having a golf tournament here in Delaware. I believe it's next month. So they were selling tickets, and the tickets was so-so. Tiger made an announcement that he was going to be there and perform in the golf tournament. Tickets went through the roof. The people is saying, wow, Tiger Woods is in it? Oh, man, we going. See what I'm saying? See how we do for their businesses, for their economy? Now, if we wasn't here, what would their economy be like? Let's say we are here, but we're putting our monies back in our own economy, in our own social system, in our own people. Can you imagine what it would be like for us? Every child that you see walking the streets will be getting a real education and not being taught. But they'll be being educated. There will be no homeless. There will be no poor people. There will be no widows. Well, there might be some widows, but you wouldn't know because she would be provided for. You follow me? There will be no single women. No single women. And what I mean by single woman, she might not have a husband, but she will have a man. And what I mean by that is, there was no single woman in Israel. If you didn't have a husband, you went back to your father's house, your brother's house, your uncle's house, but you went back to a man. And a man provided for you, looked over you, and made sure you was cool. That didn't mean you couldn't go make your own money. But that meant that you had a head over you. In the scriptures, it says that in the end days, 7 women shall run to one man saying, I'll buy my own food, my own clothing. Just let me be called by your name. So it's something spiritual in being called by the name of a righteous man. Something spiritual about being attached to a righteous man that most people today have lost a connection with. In the ancient days, we understood that. Read on, please.
Nehemiah chapter 10, verse 31. And if the people of the land bring ware...
Here we go, family. What does it say? And if the people of the land...
Bring ware...
Bring something to sell.
Or any victuals on the Shabbat day to
or
sell.
Any victuals on the Shabbat day to sell.
That we will not buy it from
That we would not buy it from them.
On the Sabbath.
On the Shabbat day.
Or on a holy day.
Or on a holy day. So family, what is this saying to us? This is saying that on the Shabbat day or on a holy day, you should not be buying and selling anything. So if you're not buying and selling, as a temple, we shouldn't be collecting money either. We shouldn't be collecting funds either. But keep this in mind, family, that on a Shabbat day, you should not be buying or selling no work, no ironing clothes, no cooking food on the Shabbat day. And before the Shabbat day comes in, you should bathe yourself so that you will be cleansed spiritually on the holy Shabbat day. Read on, please. Where I need you to go now? Well, let me see. Did you finish that portion? Because I like to interrupt sometimes, to get that point across. Read that little portion again, 31. Read that to its fullness.
Start at the beginning.
31, yes.
And if the people of the land bring ware or any victuals on the Sabbath day to sell, that we would not buy it of them on the Sabbath or on the holy day, and that we would leave the seventh year and the exaction of every day.
Every seventh year was to be a Sabbath. Shalom. Now, here it is, family, that on the seventh day when the Shabbat came in, we would neither buy nor sell on the Shabbat day. Neither buy nor sell on the Shabbat day. Now go with me to the 13th chapter, please. We're still talking about a proper, holy Shabbat day. 13th chapter, Nehemiah.
Verse 1. On that day they read in the book of Moses in the audience of the people, and therein was found written that the Ammonites and the Moabites should not come into the congregation of Elohim forever, because they met not the children of Israel with bread and with water, but hired Balaam against them, that he should curse them. Howbeit our Elohim turned the curse into a blessing. Now it came to pass, when they had heard the law, that they separated from Israel all the mixed multitude.
They separated from us. They said, we got to get ourselves together first before we can help somebody else. We had enough sense to realize that. Now the mixed multitudes was those people who wasn't worshiping the creator of all creation. Because had they been worshiping the creator of all creation, there would have been no reason for us to have to separate ourselves from them. Read on and let's see what's happening.
Verse 4. And before this, Eliashib, the priest, having the oversight of the chamber of the house of our Elohim, was allied unto Tobiah. And he had prepared for him a great chamber, where aforetime they laid the meat offering, the frankincense, and the vessels, and the tithes of the corn, the new wine, and the oil, which was commanded to be given to the Levites.
Now you see what it said about the tithes? The tithes wasn't shekels. The tithes wasn't money. The tithes was of corn. You take some corn to the preacher man and talk about he collecting tithes and see what happens. He'll be highly, get this out of here. What are you trying to be funny? You're trying to ridicule us? The Lord doesn't like this. He will be hot with you. But tithes had nothing to do with money. Nothing. Tithes had everything to do with the produce, the increase of your land. Read on, please.
And the singers and the porters and the offerings of the priests. Verse 6. But in all this time was not I at Jerusalem, for in the 2 and 13th year of Artaxerxes, king of Babylon, came I unto the king, and after certain days obtained I leave of the king. And I came to Jerusalem and understood of the evil that Eliashib did for Tobiah, in preparing him a chamber in the courts of the house of Elohim. And it grieved me sore. Therefore I cast forth all the household stuff of Tobiah out of the chamber.
He was a bad boy. He just came, started putting up shop and kicking people out. He wasn't no joke. You know why he wasn't no joke? Because he was known in Artaxerxes' house. He was the cupbearer for Artaxerxes, which meant that he hold rank. And Artaxerxes sent him to Jerusalem with an armed company and papers to give him safe passage out of all his provinces till he got to his destination. He hold rank and power. He was an Israelite man. Read on, please.
Verse 9. Then I commanded, and they cleansed the chambers, and thither brought I again the vessels of the house of Elohim, which the meat offering and the frankincense. And I perceived that the portions of the Levites had not been given them, for the Levites and the singers that did the work were fled every one to his field. Then contended I with the rulers and said, why is the house of Elohim forsaken?
Family, understand what I'm saying to you. Just because you got a man or men in a house of worship doesn't mean that they're doing the Creator's business. It doesn't mean that they're about the Creator's business. A lot of men in these places about favoritism. They show great favoritism toward brothers and sisters that they like. Some of the other men that are in these positions with them will be able to do things that the common man won't be able to do with another man's wife, and nothing to be said about it. Because it's not about the Creator. It's about the multitudes of people. You have to be mindful of these things. Here we had an establishment, an Israelite establishment that was established with Levites who ran because the men that was calling the shots was crooked. And the men that was calling the shots was a priest who wanted a priest. He was crooked. He didn't run, although he was a Levite, because he got to eat a little bit. And the rest of the men who set up shop were crooked men. So somebody had to come and put them in their proper place. And it took Nehemiah to do it. The Most High blessed him. And he went in and set up shop the way it was supposed to be. Read on, please.
Finish in verse 11. And I gathered them together and set them in their place. Then brought all Judah the tithe of the corn and the new wine and the oil unto the treasures.
Did it say anything about the tithes of the money?
No.
It says tithes of those that is increased from the land. That's what they brought up. Read on, please.
And I made treasurers over the treasuries, Shelemiah the priest and Zadok the scribe, and of the Levites, Pedadiah, and the next of them was Hanan the son of Zakur, the son of Mattaniah, for they were counted faithful, and their office was to distribute unto their brethren.
Wow, that's a big position. But more so than their position was their conduct. They was considered to be faithful, which meant that they feared the Creator. And he didn't have to worry about them swaying to the left or the right or putting money in their pockets. Their job was to be overseers to make sure that the rest of the family got what they were supposed to have and receive. So if they had brothers or sisters, per se, that was a widow, or children that was homeless, didn't have a father, their father could have died or anything, it was these brothers' jobs to make sure that they were set up, that they were taken care of, that they were provided for out of the monies from the treasuries of the temple. The law issued forward for our people out of the house of worship. That's how the law issued forward. There was no law except the Torah for our people. And the high priests were the ones who the Most High had ordained to teach the people. So it was their job to translate, recite, and refer the law to the people. Read on, please.
Verse 14. Remember me, O my Elohim, concerning this, and wipe not out my good deeds that I have done for the house of my Elohim, and for the offices thereof. In those days saw I in Judah some treading wine presses on the Sabbath, and bringing in sheaves, and lading asses, and also wine, grapes, and figs, and all manner of burdens, which they brought into Jerusalem on the Sabbath day.
Say that again. Start that verse again, please.
In those days saw I in Judah some treading wine presses on the Sabbath.
What they doing but minding their business on the Shabbat day? They had gotten so sunk into tradition, so sunk into their ways that they had been doing things that it wasn't a sin for them to tread wine presses on the Shabbat day. See, because these were things that had been taught for them. They'd done it for a long time. So they could never imagine that they were committing a violation against the Creator. It's going to be very difficult to teach people about the King. It's going to be very difficult to cause people to break those bad habits that they've had for so long. Now here he goes, he walks into Jerusalem and people are treading wine presses on the Shabbat day. Now you know what that means. It means you got a whole bunch of grapes, put them in this urn, this big thing, stepping on them, and the juice, the liquid will fall out and go down through the thing. That's what's taking place. People are working on the Shabbat. Now we just read in Numbers, or did we read that yet? We didn't read that yet. We're going to get to that. When a little boy was killed for working on the Shabbat day. Here it is, so many years done passed since then. We done been in a captivity, out of captivity, and here we are. And all of a sudden it's acceptable now for us to work. Oh, I'm a scholar and I came up with this new, we can work, but it just can't be your occupation that you work in 6 days a week. People got these ideals. I've heard this before. We come up with the wildest things. The Father says that on the Shabbat, it's not just that you can't work. It's a special day above any work day. It's a Shabbaton. So I don't care what your profession is. The Shabbat day is to be separated from work. You cannot work on the Shabbat day. Period. Unless you're working for the Creator. Some people was put to death because of this. Here they are. He goes into Jerusalem and we tread wine on a Shabbat day. As if it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. Or Yom Rishon, Yom Kamishi, Yom Shileshi, Yom Ribe'i. What's the next day, Naima? I know you wasn't with me. Read on, please.
And bringing in sheaves and lading.
And they're bringing in sheaves. But see, this wasn't their job during the rest of the week. This was just their job on the Shabbat. This was just something that they did just on the Shabbat, so they thought it was okay. No, it wasn't okay. Our people had taken hold of these traditions of men. The Father says in the book of Jeremiah, the book of Isaiah, the 29th chapter, the 13th verse, he says, ye worship me with your mouths, but your mind is far from me. Which means that we talk one way out of our mouth, but our true desires and our true actions is to be somewhere else. And that's what we do. We actually be somewhere else. And here we are now on the Shabbat day doing something else. Read on, please.
As also wine, grapes, and figs.
Chapter and verse.
Nehemiah chapter 13, the middle of verse 15. And figs, and all manners of burdens.
All manners of things. Because you know, sin creeps up on you. You start off small with a sin, and the next thing you know, before you know it, that sin has expanded to a more multitude of abominations before the Creator. Read on, please.
Which they brought into Jerusalem on the Sabbath day. And I testified against them in the day wherein they sold victuals. There dwelt men in Tyre also therein, which brought fish and all manner of ware, and sold on the Sabbath unto the children of Judah.
Now here come the outsiders coming into our holy city on the most holy day we got of the week, and they selling us things and we buying it. We have forgot the Most High. Now, you know we had a temple established, so you know we was still, some of us going to the house of worship on the Shabbat, the rest of us minding our business, just like it is today. Some Israelites are stuck at home because they are tied up. They're finished with this nonsense that's going on in these places called the houses of worship. It's so bad in some of these places that we just choose to stay home. That's how the Power Talk room is filled up. Because a lot of people are tired of the nonsense that's being done in these places of worship. Read on, please.
Until the children of Judah and in Jerusalem. Then I contended with the nobles of Judah, and said unto them, what evil thing is this that ye do, and profane the Sabbath day? Did not your fathers thus, and did not our Elohim bring all this evil upon us, and upon this city? Yet we bring more wrath upon Israel, by profaning the Sabbath.
Read that last part again. We do what? We bring what?
We bring more wrath upon Israel.
We bring more wrath upon our own people by profaning the Shabbat day. And we have no idea of what we're doing. The Creator says we bring more. We think that it's okay. to do our own business on the Shabbat day. It's just a little thing. It's not going to hurt anything. Who Prince think he is going to tell me I can't cook on the Shabbat? I can't go shopping on the Shabbat. I got to take a bath before the sun go down on Friday. Who he think he is? God? We'll find every reason in the world not to do the Creator's law the proper way. At least the best of our ability. They'll begin to judge and ridicule and find ways out of keeping the laws of the Creator. And all this is just being done so that you will glorify Him. That's all. So that your relationship with Him will improve. That He thereby may bless you. This is not going to put anything in my pocket. This is not about me. This is about us. Read on, please.
Nehemiah chapter 13, verse 19. And it came to pass that when the gates of Jerusalem began to be dark before
it came to pass. Now this that she's about to read, I'm going to have to ask you to start again, please. Now this that she's about to read is good for those who believe that the Shabbat is only in the daylight hours. This that she's about to read is good for those people who believe that Friday night or Shishi, once the sun goes down, is not the Shabbat. A lot of people believe that. And they believe that the Shabbat is only in Saturday morning when the sun rises. This portion that she's about to read is good for that. Read that portion again, please.
Verse 19. And it came to pass that when the gates of Jerusalem began to be dark before
When does it begin to be dark before the Shabbat? Friday at sunset is when it begins to be dark. Now what he's going to do, I want you to read that one more time. I'm going to be quiet and I'm going to let her read it. Read.
And it came to pass that when the gates of Jerusalem began to be dark before the Sabbath, I commanded that the gates should be shut and charged that they should not be opened till after the Sabbath.
When?
Be open after the Sabbath.
So if the Shabbat was only on the daylight hours, why he couldn't just shut the gates early in the morning before the sun rose? He shut the gates before the sun went down Friday, because that's when a day starts. Evening till evening. 24 hours is a Shabbat day. I often ask this question to people that disagree with that. I often ask this question. What day was you born? Somebody tell me what day you was born. What day were you born? You was born on Thursday? Oh yeah? How about you, Zakane? What day was you born? Yeah. It was the 29th of May, right? Whatever day it was. Now, how do you know if you was born in the morning or at night? Most people don't know. Smart Alec. She said her mama told her. How do you know? Because your mama told you. Your mama could have told you a mishap. Anyway, hopefully your mama told you the truth. The point I'm trying to make is, when they ask you your birthday, what day do you say? October the 15th. That's my birthday. But you could have been born the day before at night. 1 o'clock in the morning in the daylight, in the dark hours. But your birthday will still be considered the 15th, the day of the 15th. See, the word day has a connotation that we don't pay attention to. A day can be conclusive of 24 hours, or a day can just be daylight. But most commonly, a day means 24 hours. So when the Father says keep the Shabbat day, he didn't say keep the Shabbat daylight. He said keep the Shabbat day. And the Shabbat day is inclusive of 24 hours from evening back to evening. That's 24 hours. Read on, please.
The end of verse 19. And some of my servants set I at the gates, that there should no burden be brought in on the Shabbat day.
Thank you. We're done with that portion. Now I need you to open your books, please, to Isaiah the 58th chapter. Just give me a 7, family, when you get Isaiah the 58th chapter, please. When you get Isaiah the 58th chapter, give me a 7.
Mic check. Isaiah chapter 58, verse 1. Cry aloud, spare not, lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgressions, and the house of Jacob their sins. Yet they... Mic check. Can I get a 7 if I can be heard in the room, please? That's so funny. Okay. Isaiah chapter 58, verse 1. Cry aloud, spare not, lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgressions, and the house of Jacob their sins.
Hold up, wait a minute. What did Most High say to the prophet? Cry aloud, spare not, show my people their transgressions, and the house of Jacob their sins. A lot of us go on in these customs and traditions that we have learned by the teachings of men and think that these customs and traditions are law, and they're not. They are violations of the law. Like a man would tell you to fast and not tell you how to fast and when to fast, and actually cause you to violate the laws of the Creator. Let's see how the Most High says we should fast. Read on, please.
Verse 2. Yet they seek me daily and delight to know my ways.
They seek him daily and delight to know his ways.
As a nation did righteousness.
As a nation that did no wickedness.
And forsook not the ordinance of their Elohim.
As if we never forsook the laws of the Creator. We go before him demanding of him as if he owes us something. As if we never violated him ever. And we're the worst of the worst in the ways in which how we conducted ourselves before this king. Think back the last time, family, in your mind. Just think for the last day or so. Did you talk about anybody? Did you show selfishness to anybody? Hatred to anybody? Did you share with anybody? Did you express love to anybody outside of your immediate family? Did you? Did you show any kindness to anybody? Did you help anybody outside of your immediate family? Good. You're an exception. Think back, family, because most of us, we don't do anything for anybody at any time, but yet we think that whenever the Creator, whenever we need or require something from the Father, he's supposed to hear us and answer us because we're called by his name and for that reason only. Not so. The topic of today is the proper method of keeping a holy Shabbat day. And we're talking about at this particular time how to fast before the Creator is going to end up talking about what our subject is about today. Read on, please.
The end of verse 2. They ask of me the ordinance of justice. They take delight in approaching to Elohim.
We took delight in approaching to him. Read on.
Verse 3. Wherefore have we fasted, say they, and thou seest not? Wherefore have we afflicted our soul, and thou takest no knowledge? Behold, in the day of your fast ye find pleasure, and exact all your labors. Behold, ye fast for strife and debate, and to smite with the fist of wickedness. Ye shall not fast as ye do this day, to make your voice to be heard on high. Is it such a fast that I have chosen, a day for a man to afflict his soul? Is it to bow down his head as a bulrush?
He says, is this a day that I have chosen, a day for a man to afflict his soul? to bow down his head as in a bull rush? Or is it a day that you chose? Is it a fast that you chose how to fast? Has this day been taught to you by the perceptions of men? Or is this a day that the Most High has placed in order? Read on, please.
And to spread sackcloth and ashes under him.
We walk around spreading sackcloth and ashes as if we are holy and righteous. We're going to have a day of atonement. We're going to fast before the Most High, and we know not how to fast before the Most High. For the sun goes down on the 9th day, and the Day of Atonement starts at the 9th day of Eve. So when the sun goes down on the 9th day, do we purify our minds? Or do we continue with our normal way of conducting our evil thoughts and our hatred in our hearts, our jealousy toward one another, and just our overall methods of debauchery? Because that's how we have been conducting our Sabbaths. This is how we've been conducting our fasts. This is how we have been living our days. Evil. And thinking that we're doing something righteous. Talking about people gossiping. Doing all types of evil things. But we say that the Most High should accept our Day of Atonement. We say that the Most High should hear our prayers because we are doing what He required of us to do. And in reality, we're not. Read on, please.
The end of verse 5. Wilt thou call this a fast and an acceptable day to Jehovah?
We got a fast coming up, the Day of Atonement coming up soon. And I've been told that a lot of our people won't come out to this feast, this day of remembrance that we're having because it's on their fast day. We're having a day of remembrance when we all come together in Jamestown, Virginia, and cry out to the Creator. Now, that's not my Day of Atonement. We keep the Day of Atonement 2 days later. But I'm going to be there, Creator willing, because I see the urge and the necessity for our people to come together to cry to this King. So some people have said that this day is the Day of Atonement for them, and they don't want to be in the assembly of all these people. And I think to myself, what better day and what better way for you to cry out to the Creator than the assembly of your people? See, what we don't understand is that a concentrated effort, the Most High will hear. An individual effort, the Most High just looks and he might not. But anything we do that we come together and we concentrate our energies, there's more of a possibility that he will hear and recognize our prayer. What did he tell Moshe when the children of Israel was in Egypt? He didn't say, go back and tell Abinadab that I heard his prayer. I heard his plea and his moaning. He said, go back and tell my people. Because the people collectively was crying out to him. And if we collectively on this day, no matter what your opinion is on the day being called the Day of Atonement or not, like I said before, none of us know for sure. So no matter what your opinion is, the fact is that we are coming together as a people, another form of unification. So you have more people that's going to go against the unification for their reasons, whatever it may be, keeping us in disarray, disunity, and all our confusion and madness. Prolonging our captivity. Now, no matter what this day is, we're coming together as a people to cry out to this King to release us from this curse. What better way can we do it? Everybody done tried on their own individual level. So now let's collectively come together and do it. Now, obviously, if the way you have been doing it in the past was the correct way, then we wouldn't be in this situation today. But a lot of our people want to hold on to traditions and keep doing these same traditional ways, these same traditional methods, and none of them are working for us. It's just like we got churches on every corner. If churches was the remedy, then we shouldn't be in the situation we're in today. We have Hebrew Israelite Knesset that have been doing these same things for how many generations now? And our condition is not getting any better. Just like I said, we have to run our lives like we do a big Fortune 500 company. If something doesn't work, move it out the way. And whatever we've been doing in these houses that we call the houses of worship, it hasn't been working because we have not anything for people. Nothing. So it's time that we get behind a movement, a righteous movement, that we can really sit back and say, this is about the Creator's business. What better movement than something like this where we can all get, and if you can't make it to Jamestown, we have a place in each state where you can go to commune with your brothers and sisters and watch what's going on in Jamestown across a monitor. What else can you do? So that at the same time, all throughout the earth, we're crying out to the Creator for His mercy and His forgiveness. What else can you do, family? How can you find an excuse against something like that? The time of our deliverance is here. The rest of it is up to us. Read on, please, Emma.
Isaiah chapter 58, verse 6. Is not this the fast that I have chosen?
Is not this the way that I said for you to fast? You know, we all got our own methods, but our own method usually just takes into mind the affliction that we suppose calls upon ourselves by not eating and sometimes by not drinking. But how about the mental affliction by changing your ways from doing the nasty habits that you had prior to your fast? Watch what the Most High says.
To loose the bands of wickedness, to undo the heavy burdens.
To undo the heavy burdens. Not your burdens, but somebody else's burdens. It might be somebody that's working for you. The Father's saying, give them a day off or something. Give them a break. Let their day not be as hard. To unloose the bands or the heavy burdens. What else it say?
And to let the oppressed go free.
And to let the oppressed go free.
And that ye break every yoke.
And that ye break every yoke. A yoke is something that's around somebody's neck. That's hard for a person to make it through. Hard for them to survive. Very difficult in their lives. Like a lot of children go to school today without the proper nutrition or food to eat or even lunch to carry. They might go with holy clothes or bad sneakers or smelly breath because they couldn't brush their teeth. Take these children, offer something to the family out of respect. If it ain't but $50, if it's $25, offer something to the family on the day of your fast to try to relieve their burden. Try to lift some of the pressure that they may have. You might got a next door neighbor with 4 or 5 kids and you see that she's struggling. Take something over there one day or invite her to dinner or just take the kids out for her one day and give her a break. Take her children for a day or two or for a couple hours. You'd be surprised at the amount of help you will be able to loose the burdens off of her just for a couple hours of relief from her children. Pay an electric bill this month for her. Give her some extra money. You know? Show her that the Spirit of the Most High resides in you. You might know a man next door to you that got a family that's providing for his family. Let me tell you a real life story. This is what I saw. This is what I witnessed. I got a home. I don't even know if I can call it a home, but I got a home down in Puerto Rico. The pretty bad neighborhood of Philadelphia. Pretty bad neighborhood. And my next door neighbors directly next door to me are Puerto Ricans. Not that this is all Puerto Ricans, but this Puerto Rican family just happens to be this way. I'll come in the house and they're sitting on the porch. They won't crack their lips to speak. They won't even look up at you so they don't have to speak. Anything happens, they all at the door looking, see what's going on. You walk in, they won't speak, won't say nothing to you. Sometimes you say, how you doing? And you hear something little, and they keep on going. When they got company on the porch, they talk in Spanish. They don't know I can speak a little Spanish. They talk in Spanish so that you don't know what they're talking about. Yeah, look at that maricon. It's a faggot. In Spanish, maricón. Why? They say little smart things about you. Now, this is not all Puerto Ricans. This just happened to be this one Puerto Rican family next to me. Say all kind of stuff about us. Smart stuff. Nasty stuff. Just show the backside of themselves to us. And all I try to do is serve the Creator to the best of my ability. So one day I was bringing my children home from school. And the woman, the mother who lives there, she's a big woman. She ain't no little woman. She's a big woman, right? And she sits on the porch. She's 25 years old. Look like she's 30, 38, somewhere around in there. She looks old for her age. So one day, I'm bringing my children home from school, and I see her car in front of me. She got this blue little car with the front smashed in, and the car is just banged up real bad. It needs a lot of help. So she's driving her little car in front of me. And I had to rear off and make a turn because the traffic was backed up way. So I figured I'll make my turn and call myself trying to find me a shortcut. So when I go my way to find my shortcut, she's pulling up in the opposite direction, so she must have found a shortcut before I did. Well, we're on another street now. So she gets out of her car and she's running, she's rushing to get there. She's a big woman. She's rushing to get into this store, the pizza store, and I see her carrying a pizza delivery bag. Touched my heart. It humbled me when I saw that. This is the nasty woman, and I see why she's so nasty now. Her life is bad. Her life is so bad that she's out delivering pizzas in a car that really won't make it from one block to the next. But the will that she had inside of her touched my heart. The motivation and the desire to get up and make this happen, although I don't have the best of what I need to make it happen, it did something real special to me. It made me appreciate so much more, the value of life. Now, her husband goes out, he got this job. I don't know what kind of work he does, but you know that the family is not that well off. You can see it. And when I saw her delivering pizza, it just humbled me in my spirit. I had a spot inside of me. Now, normally my spot inside of me was concrete because of the way that she demonstrated her actions toward me and my family. Real ignorant, real nasty, real ghetto-fied. And I felt like this girl is getting everything she deserved. When I saw her out there grinding like that, it did something special to me. She was on her grind, delivering pieces, and she was rushing, not so I couldn't see her, but so she can go get the next order to take it out to make some money to go home and feed her family. She has, I believe it's 2 little kids there in the house, a little boy and a little girl, and her husband and her. But it was special to me when I saw that. So when I saw that, about a month later, I got me a little couple extra dollars. And when I got that little couple extra dollars, I was driving. I wanted to give it to her, but I wouldn't start no fights. Because, sometimes you give something to a woman, the first thing they think is you're trying to make a pass at her. So I waited till her husband came out. And I balled my little money up in my hand. And when he got his car, I got my car. And I pulled off right before him so he'll be in front of me. We got a block away from the house. I went over to his car. And I said to him, I don't mean any disrespect. But I see, your family is coming up a little bit. And in the way that I live, I'm a religious man. He said, yeah. I said, the way that I live, charity is one of the things that we have to do to be pleasing to the Creator. So I have a gift for you, and I would ask that you would accept it. If you would allow me to give it to you, I'll give it to you. If you say no, then I apologize for disrupting you, and I'll get back in my car and I'll leave. And the guy said, sure, what do you have? I gave him what I had to give him. He smiled. And ever since that day, his wife speaks. I never said nothing to her. I didn't do anything to her. But ever since that day, when I walk up on my porch, she speaks. What a coincidence. Solomon says that kindness, you don't meet aggression with aggression. But sometimes if you meet aggression with kindness or love, it'll change their aggression into kindness for you. You follow me? And it was a beautiful thing. It was beautiful because I just destroyed that adversarial spirit. Now, it may come back. Given the process of time, she might get that spirit back again. But I know for the last 4 or 5 times that I saw her after that occasion, it was a greetings. But I say that because the Father has his methods for us to fast. And showing kindness or helping to release the burden, that might have went toward their mortgage. You know, that might have paid a couple bills. I have no idea. I don't know how much they're suffering. I don't know what they're going through. I know I'm suffering. My wife probably saying, man, we could have used that money. Yeah, we could, because we suffering too. But sometimes you got to give of yourself to help somebody else. And something about the spirit world, but the spirit world sends that signal to the creator of all creation. And he sees that, you know, and he appreciates that. He know you didn't have, but you went in your way to help somebody that was less off than you were. So I'm going to take care of you. That's how the creator works. That's why he asks us here in this reading, is this such a fast that I have prescribed? The fast that I said for you to do is release somebody else's burden. Take somebody else's yoke off of themselves. You walk around with sackcloth and ashes, but you still pride in your spirit. You're still proud in your heart. There's no humility in your ways. You're judgmental upon those who are less fortunate than you are. And you're not considering how you can help someone else. Read on, please.
Isaiah chapter 58, verse 7. Is it not to deal thy bread to the hungry?
To give thy bread to the hungry.
And that thou bring the poor that are cast out of thy house? When thou seest the naked, and thou covered him?
When thou seest the naked, that thou wilt cover him or her. Which really means when you see somebody that is without or less fortunate than you, that you don't make fun of them, that you don't laugh at them, that you really try to extend your hand to see if there's anything you can do to help. Read on, please.
And that thou hide not thyself from thine own flesh? Then shall thy light break forth as the morning, and thine health shall spring forth speedily.
The Most High says, once you begin to do that, then should your light break forward as the morning, and your health, what do you say about the health?
Will spring forth
as
speedily.
the morning. As the what?
Your health shall spring forth speedily.
Your health. So a lot of us are really sick because of the things that we don't do. As alone part of the things that we do as far as putting poisons in our bodies. There's a lot of noise out there in the hallway, family. So this is what we have to begin to do. We have to begin to learn to do the things that the Creator has prescribed for us to do. The methods that He has said is best for us to do. We don't do those things. We don't show kindness, love, and mercy toward people. Most of us, we are so scared of the person next door to us that look just like us that we are hiding, and every noise that we hear in the back of a house, we think it's somebody trying to break in. He might be out there rumbling with the real thief. And he might need you to look out the window to save his life for trying to protect yours. Don't be so judgmental over our own people. There are some good people out there. There are. And once you attract the good people, then you remember who they are. Read on, please.
Finish in verse 8. And thy righteousness shall go before thee. The glory of Yahweh shall be thy reward.
The glory of Yahweh shall be your reward.
Then shalt thou call, and Yahweh shall answer. Thou shalt cry, and he shall say,
You see what
Here
he
I
says? You see what the Creator says? He says, then, after you do your fast this way, then you shall call, and I will answer. So that means that if we're not doing it that way, we call him, but that means he ain't answering. So what better thing can we do to approach him in the manner that he has required for us to approach him in? Read that part again, please.
Then shalt thou call, and Yahweh shall answer. Thou shalt cry, and he shall say, Here I am.
Thou shalt cry. Thou shalt cry, and the Most High shall say, Here I am. Read on.
If thou take away from the midst of thee the yoke, the putting forth of the finger.
If thou take away from thee the yoke and the putting forth of the finger. See, it's his fault. He ain't no good. And you know that word we like to use, that nigga. You see that nigga? That nigga did it. Don't trust that nigga. I heard about that nigga. Stay away from that nigga. We the worst enemies. Most High, please protect us from ourselves. Please. If thou would put away the pointing of the finger. Read on, Emma.
And speaking vanity.
And speaking vanity. A lot of us just like to talk just to be heard. I was watching this thing on television yesterday. This man, he had a phone and his phone was unlimited. And they had to shut his phone off because he just talked for like 18 hours out of a day, every day. They had to he had an unlimited phone plan, but they had to cut him down because he just talked. Now, you know he was speaking vanity, right? And it was a man. It wasn't a woman. It was a man. Talk. Black man, too. Man of color. Talk. They had to shut the phone. They shut it down because he talked too much. The Most High says, stop speaking so much vanity. That was the very first thing I thought about, Tyon. The very first thing I thought about. Read on, please. My son, one of my sons that talks a lot of vanity. Whole lot of vanity. Oh, he just talk. He call you just to talk to you and ain't got nothing to talk about. So he talking about nothing. I ain't got nothing to talk about. I just want to talk to you about nothing. I just want to talk. How your day? How you doing? How's it going? How's it all right? Hang up. 5 minutes later, here you go, calling you right back. Vanity. Talking about this person, talking about that person. And all that talking, none of that talking is utilized to develop this nation. If we put much time and energy into developing at least our children, we would make it. We would be all right, halfway decent people. But we don't. We get tired of our children. We send them off to somebody else to look after them for the most of the day. And that person that we send them off to is usually homosexuals or lesbians or pork eaters or idolaters. Usually it's not our own people. So I fault ourselves for our condition today because we can change our condition. We're holding up our own redemption. The Most High has already done the work. He said, I'm waiting for you, Israel. Where you at? And we so busy every time somebody try to make a move toward the Creator, we shooting them down. Read on, please.
Verse 10. And if thou draw out thy soul to the hungry, and satisfy the afflicted soul, then shall the light rise in obscurity, and thy darkness be as the noonday.
Hold up a second. Yabaka, you ask a question, is this a black people room only? No, this ain't no black people room only. This room is designed for anybody who wants to serve the Creator of all creation. I don't care if you black, Puerto Rican, green, or purple. It doesn't matter. You can even be a puppy. If you want to worship the Creator, come on, tune into the room and just listen. The Most High says that my house is a house for all people. But I need you to understand that if you do come into the room, you may hear some things that if you are of another ethnicity, especially European ethnicity, that you may hear some things about what your forefathers have done to my forefathers. You may hear a lot of those things. So just be prepared. I don't mean to upset you or to throw anything to you. My desire is to truth, righteousness, and teach truth. So that's what I have to do. I can't act like it didn't happen because some European people may be in the room. I have to speak what has actually taken place so that we don't repeat it. But we welcome you. Come on into the room. You're always welcome. Read on, please.
Verse 11. And Yahweh shall guide thee continually, and satisfy thy soul in drought, and make fat thy bones. And thou shalt be like a watered garden, and like a spring of water, whose waters fail not. And they that shall be of thee shall build the old waste places, Thou shalt raise up the foundations of many generations, and thou shalt be called the repairer of the breach.
Did you pass verse 13?
No.
Oh, thank you.
The restorer of paths to dwell in. I'm at 13 now.
She's at 13 now. Read on.
If thou turn away thy foot from the Sabbath.
If thou do what?
Turn away thy foot from the Sabbath.
If thou turn away thy foot from the Shabbat. Now, a lot of us turn away our foot from the Shabbat and don't realize that that's what we're doing. When we have these new ideals about better improved ways that we can keep the Shabbat, which allows us to now do things that we knew wasn't permissible, like working on the Shabbat. Oh, you know what, Prince? The sun go down at 4 o'clock, but I don't get off work till 3:30, so I can't make it home in time to take my bath for the Shabbat. So I just take my time and I just go to the Shabbat service the next day. I can't cook, I can't iron, and I'm too lazy to do it. I mean, I don't have time to do it on Thursday. So when Friday come around, I just be all messed up. I gotta iron when the sun go down. Or sometimes I get this one. Well, you know, Prince, the sun go down at 4 o'clock and I don't get off till 7. So I gotta stay at work because I gotta please the real master. You know who the real master is, right? The real master ain't the creator. That ain't the creator. The creator ain't the real master. They got to stay at work on the Shabbat for those 3 hours so they can please their real lover, the real master, their real God. And that's what they do. And then they want to come to somebody like me with an excuse and want me to understand. And I can't. I just can't understand. Because my Nashim had to work on days on the Shabbat where they had to work. It was mandatory that they worked on a Shabbat day. You follow me? And I know what I said? I said, guess what? You won't be going in there. She says to me, huh? I said, you won't be going in there. She said, cool, let's fight. So we start a fight with the people. I drafted a letter, put the temple seal on it, and said she won't be coming in there. So they wrote us back, told her if she don't come in here, she gonna get fired. That was how long ago? How many years ago was that with Namia? 10? 15 maybe? She ain't been to work in that place on the Shabbat since, and she still got a job. So you got to learn that the real master is the creator. The real master is not those people out there that dictate policy and procedures to you. The real master is the creator. And the man who told her she had to come to work was the same man who called her on her day off and said, I'm sorry, you ain't got to come to work on your Shabbat day. Same man. But he stood strong when he called in his office and said, hey, listen, I don't care what you are. We got other Israelites on this job. This deals his exact words. You're not the only Hebrew Israelite on this job. You have to work on Saturday. It is mandatory. Man, she left that office and ain't never returned on the Shabbat since. You kidding me, sir? That won't be me. And she hasn't returned back. They tried her one time after that. She fought him again. They gave up. I told them to get their lawyers involved because we're going to fight till we die. This is real. You have to be serious with this king. If you're not, then you're just playing. Get out the way and let somebody that's going to do it get in the way. Go to church somewhere if you're going to play. Because to serve this king means you're going to do or die to the best of your ability. The Most High says, do not violate my Shabbat day. Then you don't violate it to the best of your ability. Call them people and tell them you can't work. It is the Sabbath day of the Creator. I am a Hebrew Israelite. And in their law, they have it written where they cannot violate your religious rights. So it is your religious right, freedom, and duty to worship your God. I'm going to say God because that's how they say it. God. I say Creator. They say God. You have the right to worship your God in the tenets of your religion. So you take to them the Tanakh or scriptures out of the Tanakh, Put it in matter of fact, www.templekeepharine.org. Email me. I am the administrator at that website. Email me and I will send you a copy of a letter to take to your place of employment. And the only thing is that once you take this letter, you have to stand strong behind what you say. And if they got a problem, you can even give them my contact number, or I will physically come and help you fight your battle in whatever state you live until we are victorious. That's why we need our own land. Because if we had our own land and we were self-sufficient, we wouldn't have to worry about the Shabbat day. The only people in our land that will be working on the Shabbat day is the security to make sure that we're safe while we're resting. That's it. Security never sleep. To protect the lives of our little children and our females. You men, protect yourself. But the women and children, it is our duty as men to protect them. The only people going to be working on the Shabbat is the security. And I pray and beg that the Most High forgives us for that. Because that is necessary when you're in the belly of the beast. You know what they did at Masada, right? Right. Come on. Read on, please.
Verse 13. If thou turn away thy foot from the Sabbath, from doing thy pleasures on my holy day, and call the Sabbath a delight.
If you turn away your foot on the Shabbat from doing your own ways, and if you turn away your foot by calling the Shabbat a delight, you will anger the Most High King. See, the Shabbat is just not a physical thing. It's a spiritual thing as well. So if you enter into the Shabbat with oppression in your mind saying, I really don't want to do this. This is really a burden for me. Then you have violated the Shabbat already. If you have entered in the Shabbat with the wrong spirit by carrying burdens in on the Shabbat, then you have violated the Shabbat already. The Shabbat should be a delight for you. It should be a day of rejuvenation, a day of sacredness, a day that you learn to enjoy the blessings that the Creator has given to you. And nothing should be done on the Shabbat except servitude and worship to the Most High King. Read on, please.
The holy of Yahweh, honorable, and shalt honor him, not doing thy own ways, nor finding thine own pleasure, nor speaking thy own words.
Now, hold. Wait a minute. Read that again. This is how you're supposed to keep a Shabbat, family. Read that again, please.
Not doing thine own ways.
Not doing your own ways, which means doing things that you would normally do that brings you pleasure.
Nor finding thine own pleasure.
Nor finding thy own pleasure. So let me break this down for you, family, for the adults in the room. None of us should be having sex on the Shabbat day. No Israelites should be having sexual intercourse on the Shabbat day. Just want to make that clear to you, because a lot of us don't even understand that. Should not be done. What's the next one, please?
Nor speaking thine own words.
Nor speaking whatever it is that comes into your mind. You're not supposed to just let it come out of your mouth on the Shabbat day. Because you know what your own words are, right? Most of our own words are talking about somebody else in a derogatory way, in a negative way, and not uplifting anything. Another thing that is done on the Shabbat day is we're going to get into in a little bit, but you go ahead and finish, please.
Verse 14. Then shalt thou delight thyself in Yahweh.
Then shall you delight yourself in the Most High King.
And I will cause thee to ride upon the high places of the earth.
And I will bless thee.
And feed thee with the
and I will feed thee
of Jacob thy father, for the mouth of Yahweh hath spoken.
Leviticus the 23rd chapter, please. Prince, How do I keep a Shabbat day? By denying yourself of your own desires and pleasures, by walking in the ways of the Most High King, and by preparing for the Shabbat 2 days or 1 day before. Hallelujah. Leviticus, the 23rd chapter. This is one of the things that is required on a Shabbat day. Read on, please.
Leviticus chapter 23, verse 1. And Yahweh spake unto Moshe, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say
Speak unto the children of Israel. Now, did he say speak unto Aminadab? Did he say speak to Micah? Did he say speak to Jonah? He said speak to the children of Yisrael. Collectively, all of the children of Yisrael. And what did he say to speak to them about?
Concerning the feast of Yahweh.
Concerning the what?
Feast.
Now that word there is feast, as you have in English, is moed or moedim. And a moedim means appointed times. It doesn't mean feast. That's a bad translation. If your book says feast, it's not what it says in the Hebrew. In the Hebrew, it means appointed times. It means the set aside times out of all the rest of the days. Speak unto the children of Israel about the appointed times or the moedim of the Most High. What does this say?
Which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations.
You shall proclaim it to be what?
Holy convocations.
Holy gatherings, holy coming togethers. Now on the Shabbat day is going to be the number one of these moedim, the number one of these appointed times. And the Most High says for us that when these appointed times come together, you shall proclaim them to be what?
Holy.
Holy. Well, we ain't got nothing holy in this land. What did the Most High say? When you come together on the Shabbat, you shall proclaim this day to be holy. Holy only means set aside. Set aside for a particular purpose in reverence the Most High King. That's what holy means. So this day is supposed to be set aside from all other days. That's why it's called the day of rest. Read on, please.
6 days shall work be done.
6 days shall work be done.
But the 7th day is a Sabbath of rest.
But the 7th day is a Sabbath of rest. The very first day that he wants you to acknowledge is the 7th day. But Ima, I think you missed something up there in Leviticus 23 and 1. Can you backtrack again and read that again, please? Because it's something that I think you missed.
And Yahweh spake unto Moshe, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say it to them concerning the feast of Yahweh, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations. Even these are my feasts. 6 days shall work be done, but the 7th day is a Sabbath of rest and holy convocation. Ye shall do no work therein. It is the Sabbath of Yahweh in all your dwellings. These are the feasts of Yahweh, even holy convocations, which ye proclaimed in their seasons.
All right.
Which shall
Stop there for a moment. Well, you're not going to read anymore, but you stop right there for a minute. Leviticus 23 and 1. Thank you very much, Ima. Turtle Rabbah. You may be seated. Thank you. And Yahweh spake unto Moshe, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying unto them, The appointed seasons of Yahweh, the moedim of Yahweh, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations. Now, I don't have my Hebrew book, but I need, you got Hebrew right there? Anybody have a Hebrew book? Mikra Kodesh is what I believe it says there. A Mikra Kodesh. Holy convocations should say Mikra Kodesh. Now, the Mikra Kodesh is not just a holy coming together. It's a holy reading when you're coming together. Which means that on the Shabbat day, you are commanded to have a holy reading when you come together. Which is Mikra Kodesh, Torah Rabbah. It actually says Mikra Kodesh, which means that a holy reading should take place on the Shabbat day. Also, you shall come together on a Shabbat day. Now, how can you have a Mikra Kodesh in your house? Your house is one of the most defiled places. You have intercourse in your house. You go to the bathroom and do all kind of things in your house. Anybody and everybody comes in and out of your house. You walk in your house with the same shoes you walking out of the street. What did the Most High tell Moshe when he came up to the mount? He said, take your shoes off your feet. For the ground you're standing on is holy ground, because he didn't want him bringing any contaminations from the outside world into that sacred place. So here at the temple, what we do in the sanctuary, we wear special shoes, or we don't wear no shoes, or we put coverings over top of our feet. Just so that we can get as close to how the Creator has prescribed for us to keep this day as a Bikra Kodesh, holy before the Most High, a holy reading. Hallelujah. This is what we try to do in every attempt. A lot of people may say that we're going a little overboard. Then I'd rather be an extremist on the right side than an extremist on the wrong side. Hallelujah. All right. Is that okay? You want to take the mic now? Yeah, cool. That's what it's about. Questions. We have a question in the room. 1 second, please.
Shabbat Shalom. My question is, when Yah commanded us to pick the manna in the fields, and so that we would not collect for the Shabbat, so we wouldn't have to go on the Shabbat and collect the manna. Then Yah commanded us to go back to our homes on the Shabbat. So when we had this manna, we would go back to our homes on the Shabbat. That way we wouldn't have to cook on the Shabbat. We were in our homes on the Shabbat. Am I right or wrong about that?
That's correct. At that time in the wilderness we were. In the book of, if I may, is that okay? In the book of Leviticus, the 23rd chapter we just read was the laws that the Creator gave to us and what we were to do once the laws was initiated. And once the laws was initiated, we were to have a Mikra Kodesh, a holy reading, a coming together. And if you remember, all through the time of Ezra and Nehemiah and all the prophets, they all assembled themselves in the streets and had a Mikra Kodesh, a holy reading. Then the temple was built and we would all assemble at the temple. The Most High said that he will cause his spirit to dwell in that place. Even in the wilderness, when the tabernacle was there, we would assemble around the door of the tabernacle for certain occasions. So wherever the Spirit of the Most High resided is where we would be on those holy days. Hallelujah. Are there any other questions? No other questions? Okay. In the book of Numbers, the 15th chapter, let's go there, please. Numbers, the 15th chapter. Now, we're still speaking about the Shabbat day. Numbers, the 15th chapter. And we're going to drop down to verse 32. Hallelujah. All right, and it says, and while the children of Israel were in the wilderness, they found a man gathering sticks upon the Shabbat day. And they that found him gathering sticks brought him unto Moshe and to Aharon and to all the congregation. Yes. 32. Numbers 15 and 32. Silica. If I didn't make that clear, please forgive me. I'll begin again. And while the children of Israel were in the wilderness, they found a man gathering sticks upon the Shabbat day. And they that found him gathering sticks brought him unto Moshe and Aharon and unto all the congregation. And they put him inward, because it had not been declared what should be done unto him. They wasn't accustomed to people violating the Shabbat day. They wasn't sure what would happen if you violated the Shabbat day. This man happened to be out gathering sticks. And who knows what the reason was why he was gathering sticks. The elders of old used to teach that he was out gathering sticks so he can start a fire, so he can cook something to eat. But we really don't know the reason, because I don't believe that it makes it clear. The fact is that he was out violating the Shabbat day and got caught. And they put him inward, because it had not been declared what should be done to him. And Jehovah said unto Moshe, the man shall surely be put to death. All the congregation shall stone him with stones without the camp. And all the congregation brought him without the camp and stoned him with stones. And he died as Jehovah had commanded. This is to show us how serious the Shabbat day was. How serious we were to consider trying to be as perfect and right before the Most High King on the Shabbat day. The Most High has allowed us to know that the Shabbat is one of the most severe Shabbat days that we are to keep. It says guard for the Shabbat, which means be aware, look out for, be careful that you don't violate it, because you could lose your life by violating the holy Shabbat day. Are there any questions, family? Can we all rise, please, and face the east?